What's up? What's really good, chosen ones? Look, stop whatever you're doing. Seriously, put that phone down, pause that snack, because you are about to witness a revelation that will not only change your perspective on life, but also possibly save your spirit from a legal battle you didn't even know you were fighting. 5 seconds is all it took for them to realize they were about to catch a case. Not a small fine, not a parking ticket, but criminal charges for trying to steal what was never theirs. I have to ask, do you know what is truly yours? Have you ever felt this invisible, intense pressure, like someone or something is actively trying to block your blessing, to hijack your destiny, to steal the inheritance you were born to claim? Sarah was a chosen one. Didn't know it yet, but she was. Her wealthy, estranged grandfather passed away and left her the bulk of his estate. Why? Because she was the only one who treated him with genuine, pure, unadulterated love in his final years. The extended family, a pack of wolves. They descended faster than a Twitter mob on a misstep, filing lawsuits, forging documents, and whispering lies to the lawyers. It was a spiritual battlefield dressed up as a probate court. They thought they had it in the bag. They had the papers, they had the connections, they had the gall. But what they didn't have was the divine favor that was backing Sarah. Every time they threw a legal punch, the universe deflected it. Their evidence crumbled. Their witnesses contradicted themselves. One cousin even confessed on the stand to tampering with the will. Criminal charges, loading. Sarah didn't win because she hired the most expensive lawyer. She won because she walked in with an unshakable, God-given inheritance that no man, no lawyer, and certainly no scheming cousin could touch. Hear me now. The way you win this inheritance case, the case for your peace, your joy, and your destiny, is by activating the chosen one status the universe stamped on your soul. You see, your inheritance isn't just about money or mansions. It's about the authority you walk in, the light you carry, and the blessings that are eternally reserved for you. But the enemy, be it fear, doubt, toxic people, or literal spiritual shenanigans, is always trying to file a fraudulent claim against your life. They want to load you up with criminal charges of guilt, shame, and defeat. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right but still hitting a wall, stick around. We are breaking down the 7 spiritual strategies that Sarah used consciously or unconsciously to win her battle and leave the opposition picking up their criminal charge papers. You, chosen one, are being called to a higher awareness. This isn't just a YouTube video. It's a spiritual awakening manual. Watch till the end because your breakthrough isn't just coming. It's already been legally decreed. Let's dive in. Point 1, the inheritance mindset. Knowing your worth is non-negotiable. Before you ever face an enemy outside of you, chosen one, you first have to conquer the enemy within, your insecurity. This is the battle most people never win because they keep swinging at shadows, fighting people, circumstances, and systems, but never confronting that quiet, sabotaging voice in their own head. Insecurity whispers that you don't belong, that you're not good enough, and that you need to prove yourself endlessly just to stand in the room. But here's the truth. Before the world even formed, you were already written into the script of destiny. The first step in winning your case, in stepping into your authority, is not about skill or connections. It is about knowing you have a right to be there. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment, it's not entitlement. It's acceptance of divine law. You are a chosen one, period. And when God appoints you, no committee of naysayers, no gossiping crowd, and no jealous spirit can cancel your assignment. Think of it this way. A king doesn't beg for his crown, and a queen doesn't apologize for her throne. Their authority isn't based on opinion polls or public approval. It's based on decree. And that's exactly how your identity works in the spiritual realm. You don't have to convince the universe of your worthiness. You simply have to walk in the truth of what's already been declared over you. The danger is not that you'll lose your worth, but that you'll forget it. And this is where the battle becomes very real, because the devil doesn't major in finance, he majors in identity theft. He's not after your money. He knows wealth can return. He's not even after your possessions. He knows things come and go. What he wants is far greater. He wants your sense of self, because once he shakes who you are, everything else crumbles. Psychologists today confirm that identity and self-worth are the bedrock of mental health. When someone has a fractured sense of self, they can be manipulated, controlled, and swayed by the opinions of others. This is why propaganda, peer pressure, and toxic environments work so well. They target identity. And in the spiritual dimension, the same principle applies. The devil doesn't need to push you into destruction directly. He just needs to make you doubt who you are. If he can trick you into minimizing your shine, dimming your light, or thinking you're unworthy, then he doesn't need to destroy you. You'll destroy yourself by living below your calling. But here's where your power lies, chosen one. Every time you choose to stand in your worth, every time you decide not to shrink in the presence of envy or opposition, you reclaim territory the enemy tried to steal. You shift the atmosphere without even trying, because your identity speaks before your mouth does. Have you noticed that when you walk into a room with quiet confidence, people feel it before you say a word? That's not ego. That's the spiritual weight of someone who knows who they are. It's magnetic, it's commanding. And yes, it can even intimidate those who are still lost in insecurity themselves. History shows us countless examples. David was mocked before he killed Goliath because people doubted his worth. Yet David didn't win with armor. He won with identity. He knew who he was and whose he was. Jesus himself was constantly questioned, "By what authority do you do these things?" And his answer was clear. He didn't need validation from men because his identity was rooted in his Father. Even in modern culture, the most unshakable leaders, thinkers, and change-makers are not necessarily the wealthiest or strongest. They're the ones who refuse to let the world tell them who they are. So, stop minimizing your shine, chosen one. Stop playing small just to make others comfortable. Insecurity is the first battlefield. And once you've won that, the rest becomes strategy. You are not required to explain your worth. You are required to embody it. And when you do, the enemy cannot touch you, because the greatest weapon against him is not your sword, but your unshakable identity. Remember this: crowns are not begged for, they are worn, and yours is waiting. Point 2, wielding the weapon of unbothered peace. The chill factor. While everyone else is running around, stressed out and emotionally combusting, your superpower is peace. That might sound simple, but in a world designed to keep you anxious, this is nothing short of revolutionary. Think about it. Most people are glued to their phones, drowning in notifications, headlines, screaming disaster, and social media gossip, pulling at their emotions like puppet strings. Meanwhile, you, the chosen one, are walking through this chaos like a monk strolling through a marketplace, aware of the noise but untouched by it. That's not indifference, that's mastery. The enemy thrives on chaos because chaos clouds judgment. If they can get you frazzled, if they can make you reactive, they can make you sloppy. But your calmness cuts their power supply. By staying grounded, you're basically telling the drama, "Nah, boo, you aren't worth my cortisol." And for context, cortisol is the stress hormone. Too much of it weakens your immune system, drains your energy, and accelerates aging. Science literally backs up your peace as a shield. Now, here's where it gets interesting. When people see that you don't flinch, that you don't clap back at every insult or melt down at every inconvenience, they start to get uncomfortable. Why? Because it exposes their dependence on noise. Most people need conflict to feel alive. They need gossip to feel relevant. They need drama to avoid facing their own emptiness. But when you're sipping your tea, calm as a Sunday morning, it forces them to face themselves. Your peace becomes a mirror, and mirrors don't lie. That's when envy creeps in, because you embody the one thing they can't fake: authentic inner stability. Even history testifies to this. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, taught that peace of mind is the highest victory. Marcus Aurelius, who literally ruled an empire, wrote in his Meditations that a person who remains calm in the face of insult is more powerful than the one who controls armies. On a spiritual level, scriptures echo this truth. "Be still and know that I am God" is not just poetic, it's a battle strategy. Stillness connects you to the source, to divine clarity. The enemy can throw lawsuits, betrayals, rumors, or losses your way. But when you choose stillness, you stand in alignment with wisdom greater than human chaos. That's the ultimate spiritual wit. When they're throwing legal threats, you're sipping spiritual tea. And yes, I joked about Snoop Dogg saying, "Smoke weed every day." But here's the twist. The real high isn't chemical, it's spiritual. Neuroscience shows that meditation and prayer increase serotonin and dopamine, the feel-good chemicals, naturally lifting your mood. Translation: you don't need substances to feel elevated, you need alignment. Staying high on faith every day gives you the clarity to smile when others frown, to laugh when others panic, and to glow when others burn out. Your tranquility is your moat, and every moat makes a fortress hard to conquer. So, chosen one, never underestimate how radical your calmness is. You're not weak for being unbothered. You're untouchable. While the world is addicted to chaos, you're addicted to peace, and that's why they envy you. They can't figure out why you're not stressed, why you're not reacting, or why you're not crumbling like everyone else. But here's the secret. You already know that peace isn't the absence of problems. It's the presence of power, and that power makes you unshakable. Point 3, the power of prayerful due diligence. Prayer isn't just a ritual or a daily checklist. It's the lifeline of a chosen one. Too many people treat prayer like tossing coins into a wishing well, hoping something sticks. But true prayer, powerful prayer, is strategic. It's spiritual due diligence. Imagine walking into a courtroom without the right paperwork. Your case would be dismissed before it even began. The same applies in the spiritual realm. When you pray vaguely, "Bless my life," or "Help me," you're leaving your request wide open, unfocused, and often without the weight it deserves. But when you pray with precision, you are effectively filing the right documentation in the courts of heaven. Instead of "Bless me," you declare, "Expose the lies spoken against me, silence the tongue of slander, align me with the mentors who will unlock my destiny and open the exact door I need in this season." That's not begging. That's speaking in legal terms that heaven recognizes. Science even backs this up. Studies in psychology show that specificity strengthens focus. When people set clear, measurable goals, they are far more likely to achieve them. Prayer works similarly. It isn't just wishful thinking. It aligns your subconscious, your decisions, and your spiritual authority with the path you're asking for. A chosen one understands that prayer isn't simply words sent into thin air. It's communication with the source of all inheritance, the one who holds the blueprint of your life. This means you're not groveling, you're accessing your rights. Think about it. An heir to a kingdom doesn't beg for bread. They claim what already belongs to them. And here's where it gets even deeper. The scriptures often describe prayer as incense rising to the throne. That means every word, every plea, and every declaration leaves an imprint. It's not wasted energy. It's recorded like court transcripts. And when the appointed time comes, heaven rules in your favor. This is why chosen ones must be bold in prayer. Don't just pray for a job. Pray for the job that matches your skills, protects your peace, and multiplies your resources. Don't just pray for protection. Pray that hidden enemies reveal themselves, that every false alliance crumbles before it takes root, and that your spirit discerns counterfeit opportunities disguised as blessings. Entertaining as it may sound, think of prayer like Wi-Fi. If you're not connected, you can't download what's already been prepared for you. The signal is always there, but you must tune in and type the exact command. Imagine typing random stuff into a search engine. You'll get chaos. But when you search precisely, the results are refined. Prayer works the same way. Vague prayers bring vague results. Precise prayers activate precise movements. Chosen one, you were never called to pray timidly. Your words carry authority, like legal declarations stamped with heaven's seal. Even Jesus said, "Ask and you shall receive." He didn't say whisper aimlessly. He meant petition boldly. Each time you pray specifically, you're building a paper trail in the courts of heaven, ensuring that when opposition arises, your case is undeniable. So stop treating prayer like a last resort or a half-hearted request. See it for what it is, the courtroom where destiny is decided. The more specific you get, the more undeniable your inheritance becomes. You're not just talking to the ceiling, you're speaking to the judge, the Father, the architect of your calling. Pray like a chosen one, because heaven is listening with a pen in hand, ready to rule in your favor. Point 4, discernment, when to speak and when to silence. You're a chosen one, not a town gossip, and that alone puts you in a category that most people will never understand. Gossip is the language of the insecure. It's how people without real power convince themselves that they matter. But you, chosen one, carry a different kind of authority. Your silence is not emptiness. It's strategy. It's like the pause before a thunderstorm, the stillness that unsettles everyone, because they know something greater is coming. And when you master the art of silence, you become untouchable in a world where everyone else is addicted to noise. Think about Sarah surrounded by wolves who wanted her to react, to slip up, to give them something to use against her. That's how the world often treats the chosen. People wait for your emotional reaction like hunters waiting for prey. They bait you with lies, tempt you with drama, and poke at your patience. Why? Because reaction is currency. The moment you lose control of your tongue, you give them ammunition. But Sarah didn't bite. She kept her composure. And in doing so, she forced her enemies to reveal their true selves. They ended up entangling themselves. their words becoming their own trap. That's the power of discernment, knowing when to speak and when to let silence do the talking. Psychologists have studied this dynamic and found that silence can be more disarming than confrontation. In negotiation theory, it's called strategic silence. The less you say, the more others reveal. Criminal investigators use this all the time. They stay quiet, letting suspects talk themselves into confession. The same principle applies in everyday life. If you stay calm, still, and observant, those with malicious intent eventually expose their schemes without you lifting a finger. The Bible even affirms this wisdom in Proverbs 17:28. Even fools are thought wise if they keep silent, and discerning if they hold their tongues. And here's where it gets deeper. Not every battle is yours to fight. The chosen ones are marked not by how many arguments they win, but by how many they avoid. The enemy thrives on dragging you into pointless disputes because it drains your energy and distracts you from your mission. But when you choose silence, you send a louder message than words ever could. You're saying, I value my peace more than your drama. I choose my destiny over your distraction. That's spiritual maturity, and it's rare. Let's not forget history. Leaders, prophets, and visionaries who are misunderstood often practice silence as their greatest weapon. Jesus remained silent before Pilate, allowing his accusers to expose themselves. Gandhi mastered silence as a spiritual practice, using it to recharge and to resist the chaos of oppression. Even in warfare, Sun Tzu wrote, "Silence is a source of great strength. The pattern is universal. Those who control their tongue control their fate." So, chosen one, the next time gossip swirls around you, remember, you're not a town gossip, you're a guardian of wisdom. Observe people carefully. Notice who seeks your reaction and who respects your stillness. Let others talk themselves into their own chaos, their own reputational ruin, and even their own criminal charges, if that's where their path leads. Your job is not to match their energy, but to rise above it. That's the irony. Your silence, which they mistake for weakness, is the very thing that protects you and exposes them. And while they waste their breath trying to tear you down, you can serve yours for building, creating, and fulfilling your purpose. Because in the end, chosen one, silence is not just the absence of words, it's the presence of power. Point 5, embrace the refiner's fire, the pressure cooker test. Look, chosen ones, the process is not always pretty, and that's the part most people don't want to hear. Everyone wants the glory, but few want the grind. Sometimes your inheritance doesn't show up in a velvet box with golden wrapping paper. It comes hidden inside what looks like chaos, heartbreak, or loss. This is what spiritual teachers call the refiner's fire. In metallurgy, when gold or silver is refined, it is exposed to extreme heat until all impurities rise to the surface and are burned away. Only then does the metal shine in its purest form. Spiritually, your trials work the same way. That pressure, that frustration, that sleepless night when you wonder why you were chosen in the first place, that's not punishment. It's purification. It's God's way of ensuring you're not only able to receive your inheritance, but also strong enough to sustain it. Think about diamonds. They don't form in comfort. They're born in the crushing weight of the earth, under unimaginable pressure over thousands of years. And yet when unearthed, they're the most unbreakable and valuable gems on the planet. Chosen ones. That's exactly what your fire is doing. You're being transformed from coal into diamond, from ordinary into unshakable. And here's the truth most don't talk about. Not everyone can withstand that process. Many crack under the heat, many walk away, and many settle for less because the fire feels unbearable. But you're built differently. You were designed with spiritual asbestos, that divine resilience that lets you walk through flames without being consumed. Even the Bible confirms this in Isaiah 43:2. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. That's not poetry. That's a promise. Now here's where it gets even deeper. Psychologists have studied what's called post-traumatic growth, the phenomenon where, after enduring great stress or trauma, some individuals don't just recover. They actually become stronger, more compassionate, and more resilient than before. Sound familiar? That's the refiner's fire in modern scientific language. Where others break, you evolve. Where others lose faith, you gain wisdom. What you thought would destroy you actually chisels you into someone who can carry blessings without being destroyed by them. Because here's a little known truth. Sometimes blessings, when given too soon, can become curses. Wealth without discipline, influence without humility, power without wisdom, those things crush people. That's why you've been tested, stretched, and sometimes stripped down to nothing. The fire wasn't meant to reduce you, but to prepare you. Even history tells the same story. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, 27 years in what seemed like endless fire, before walking out, prepared to lead a nation. Would he have been the same leader without the refining? Probably not. The fire carved patience, resilience, and vision into his character. That's the pattern of all chosen ones. The deeper the fire, the greater the destiny. Your suffering is not wasted. It's a tailor-made training ground. So, chosen ones, don't run from the fire. Don't despise the heat. Walk through it with your head high, clothed in your invisible asbestos suit of faith, courage, and divine protection. Every tear you've cried has been cooling water on the flames. Every sleepless night has been shaping your spiritual muscle. Every trial has been a classroom teaching you strength that no textbook could ever offer. And when you finally step out of that furnace, you won't look like what you've been through. You'll radiate with a brilliance that commands respect without you even asking for it. Your inheritance is waiting, but it needs the strongest version of you to hold it. That's why you're in the fire now, so embrace it, endure it, and rise through it. Because once the refining is complete, chosen one, not even the fiercest flames of envy, gossip, or opposition will have the power to touch you. You'll stand as living proof that fire doesn't destroy the chosen. It reveals their true shine. Point 6, the godly quality of unwavering integrity. This is the game changer. While the wolves are cheating, conniving, and cutting corners, you stand on integrity. Why? Because integrity isn't just a moral virtue, it's a spiritual law in action. For the chosen ones, integrity is like divine armor. It protects you from false accusations, manipulations, and the schemes of those who operate in shadows. Character becomes your silent witness, testifying on your behalf even when no one else speaks up for you. It becomes your unseen advocate, a spiritual defense attorney that fights for you in unseen realms and manifests justice in due time. History and scripture remind us that truth always outlives deception. The wicked may seem to prosper for a moment, but time is a master revealer. A house built on lies will always collapse because deceit has no roots in eternity. But when your life is anchored on the rock of honesty and godly principles, your foundation remains unshaken, even in the fiercest storm. Modern psychology reinforces this ancient truth. Studies consistently show that people who practice integrity experience greater mental clarity and emotional stability. Deception, on the other hand, requires constant energy to sustain. A liar must remember every false detail, cover every track, and maintain a continuous act. This mental juggling act leads to chronic anxiety, cognitive dissonance, and eventual burnout. A 2015 study from the University of Notre Dame even found that when participants intentionally reduced lying for just 10 weeks, they reported fewer health complaints, lower stress levels, and improved relationships. Integrity isn't just moral, it's medicinal. It restores balance to your inner world because truth requires no performance. You don't have to keep up appearances. You just live freely, in alignment with what's real. Spiritually, integrity carries its own energetic vibration. Across traditions, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, and even indigenous wisdom, truth is described as magnetic. It attracts favor, opportunities, and divine alignment. In Christianity, Proverbs 10:9 declares, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out." This isn't metaphorical poetry, it's a universal law. When you walk in truth, you synchronize your energy with divine order, and life begins to move in your favor. Manipulators may gain temporary power, but they are building their kingdoms on spiritual sand. Eventually, truth becomes the tide that sweeps away what was never meant to last. Even in leadership and history, integrity stands as the defining difference between temporary fame and timeless respect. Abraham Lincoln, often called Honest Abe, built his legacy not on cunning, but on character. His commitment to truthfulness earned him trust from both allies and adversaries, a rare thing in politics. Meanwhile, countless leaders who climbed through deceit eventually fell from grace, their reputations forever marked by scandal. Integrity doesn't just build a moment, it builds a legacy. It outlives wealth, outshines charisma, and outlasts manipulation. For the chosen ones, integrity is both your weapon and your witness. You don't need to fight back with deceit or manipulation when others play dirty. Your honesty, consistency, and transparency are spiritual forces that work silently yet powerfully in your favor. When false accusations rise, let your record speak. When envy attempts to tarnish your name, let time and divine justice reveal the truth. You are not called to match their darkness, you are called to outshine it. The universe naturally bends toward truth because it was built upon it. And every time you choose integrity over expediency, you align yourself closer with that divine flow. So, chosen one, never envy the wolves who seem to win by deception. Their success is an illusion, a flicker that fades when the light comes. Integrity may take the longer road, but it always reaches the destination intact. When others compromise for temporary gains, stand firm on your principles, because while the wolves run fast in the dark, it is only those who walk in the light of truth who will stand tall when the sun finally rises. And when it does, the world will know your victory wasn't luck. It was the fruit of integrity, the reward of walking with divine alignment all along. Point 7, the ultimate takeaway, the quote and the verdict. Let me drop this truth bomb right here, chosen ones, because it's not just a quote, it's a law of the universe. What is done in the dark will always be brought to the light. The delay is not a denial, but a divine setup for a public testimony. This isn't just poetic, it's spiritual physics. Every hidden action, whether good or bad, carries an energy signature. In quantum physics, energy cannot be destroyed, it only transfers or transforms. Spiritually, this means the seeds planted in darkness, whether seeds of betrayal or seeds of faithfulness, will eventually bloom for all to see. That's why your victory was never designed to be private. It's not just about you winning quietly. It's about the world witnessing what God can do through a life surrendered to purpose. Chosen ones, history has always proved this principle true. Think about Joseph in the Bible. Sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison. Yet every injustice was only positioning him closer to the throne. The delay wasn't God ignoring him, it was God aligning circumstances for a testimony so big no one could deny it. Even modern psychology echoes this truth. Studies show people who stay resilient under hardship build stronger neural pathways for perseverance and success, making them not just survivors, but leaders. You're not just going through trials, you're being hardwired for greatness. And here's the part that makes this a divine plot twist. While your enemies think they're burying you, they're really planting you. Seeds don't die in the soil, they transform. Those who tried to steal your joy, block your path, or smear your name have unknowingly prepared the stage for your breakthrough. Karma, destiny, call it what you will. It's all under divine orchestration. Your only assignment, chosen one, is to stay awake, stay aligned, keep walking boldly into the inheritance stamped with your name before time began. Your story is not a cautionary tale. It's a living testimony. And when the light hits, your victory won't just vindicate you, it will inspire countless others to believe in their own calling, no matter how dark their night may seem. So, go forth, chosen one. Now that you know the game, don't let anyone trick you out of your blessing. Stay locked in on your spiritual journey. Don't just watch this video, live it. Like, comment, and share this with every person you know who is fighting an invisible battle. Let's make sure the whole world stays awake to their destiny. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.